Warning, spoiler alert. The following video will contain spoilers from the Flash episode, Welcome to Earth 2. So if you haven't watched this episode yet, spoiler alert, stop watching now if you don't want anything ruined for you. For everybody here, hey guys, Dave here. Man, I'm sorry it's been delayed a little bit trying to make this video. This is my follow-up, part 2 if you will, to my original video, Jay Garrick's Dark Side. Now, the first time I came out with it, there was a lot of suspicion that I was having about Jay Garrick, about could he actually be Zoom in secret. Now, a lot has been revealed since then, that a lot of things are kind of leading up to it, but the worst part is it makes me feel less trusting of Jay. Now, is he Zoom? There's some doubt that seems to be being cast. But at the same time, we're starting to find out that even if this Jay Garrick is not Zoom, he's definitely not the Jay Garrick that we thought he'd be. Now, one of the big spoilers that's been revealed is that there was no Jay Garrick on Earth 1. It turns out that his parents died when he was young, and he was later adopted by the Zolomon family, and he grew up to be Hunter Zolomon. That's another guy that we know that becomes Zoom, that's powered by the time stream rather than the actual Speed Force. We find this out when Jay takes Caitlin to the park and is sitting across the bench to show him where he is. Okay, I'm a little iffy about this because technically I know it's windy with the leaves blowing a little bit, but if Jay did happen to have his speed powers, throwing on a coat and some glasses could easily be a speed mirage that he could pull off, especially if he has a greater control over the Speed Force to actually, negate things like the leaves and whatnot. So that's a maybe, and I could be wrong. It could just be lip service to try to give them to the fans that eventually when Wally becomes the Flash, then we're going to get to see Teddy Sears reprise himself as a role, at least on the show. Don't know. But it just gets iffier too. I mean, now we're finding out that one of the reasons why he's been kind of dodging things is Caitlin did a sample of his blood, said that he's not just, he hasn't just lost his speed, he's dying. Apparently, whatever supposedly Zoom had done to him is slowly killing him, so he needs to get his speed back if he's going to survive. But the latest thing is that the real reason he doesn't want Barry to take Velocity 6 is because the story he's given us now is that he was fast, but he wanted to become faster. See, it's one thing that this Jay always kind of said that he could reach speeds near the speed of light. The fastest that Barry's been able to go so far is like, what, Mach 2? A little bit past that? Something doesn't add up. So now he's saying that he actually took Velocity 6 to give himself greater speed. However, it's got detrimental side effects, which that is what's killing him. So now they're trying to work on a better formula. They tried Velocity 7, which did seem to give him his powers back, but it cut out too quick. So now they're working up to probably 8, and I think next week they're going to actually have Velocity 9, which is the more stabilized drug. Now, I'm a bit iffy on this. Now, one, the Velocity drugs do grant speed to people that don't have speeds, and grants increased speed to those that are speedsters. But traditionally in the comics, it also creates accelerated organ aging and shut down, things like that. So it's not a good thing to have. I'm just iffy about this Jay because he's constantly changing up his story. Now he's saying that Zoom never stole his speed. But it doesn't make any sense because if Zoom never stole his speed, then why does he want the speed from others if he can't just take it himself? Why did he approach Dr. Wells from Earth 2 to get in and steal Barry's speed if he couldn't do it himself? How did he even know it was a concept that was possible? There's something going on between Jay and Zoom that we're not being told. Now, we're trying to theorize also about the possibilities that, okay, could Jay be Zoom? Things are looking less and less likely like that now. Because of the way that the portals from Earth 1 to Earth 2 have now been closed, except for the main one under Star Labs, but the speed cannon has been destroyed, and they are now on the clock to try to repair that. In the past, whenever they've had perspectives from Earth 1 and Earth 2, if it was daytime when the wormhole first opened up, the singularity opened up on Earth 1, it was nighttime on Earth 2. That was the flashback that we got from Jay's side of the story. But he could have been lying. Sucks. But we saw the same thing with the Gorilla Grodd episode 2. It was nighttime when Grodd went through the portal. It was daytime when he went to the other world. So there's some time thing, and it could be some cinematic time that they're taking advantage of. We never really got to see the exact time of day or night when Barry, Cisco, and Harry left for Earth 2. Yeah, it was day on the next side, but what time did they leave? Good questions. I mean, in the beginning we saw Barry running around at night, closing the portals. Then we have a sign a little later in the day, it looks like either sunset or sunrise, of Joe making his lasagna. And do you have lasagna for breakfast? Because that didn't make much sense to me. That would indicate that's more of an evening meal. If it's getting into night then, and they're going into Earth 2 when it's coming up to day, then that would be consistent. But the thing is, Jay even passed a lie detector test, supposedly, that Caitlin did to show that what he was saying at the time was the truth. But he's been consistently lying. He's been hiding things, omitting truths. And it just makes you wonder, could Jay be Edward Claris? Because Edward Claris, the rival from Earth 2, was Jay's doppelganger. And Jay has a public identity on Earth 2. People know his face, they know his name. So it would be easy for someone to come after him, the people he loves and whatnot. Or just, if someone was good enough, to assume his identity, if they could get the speed. Edward Claris was one that tried to do that. So we also know that Edward Claris, the rival, was someone that was addicted to Velocity 9. Jay's admitted he takes Velocity drugs. Now, that indicates a couple different things. It says that he either could be Edward Claris pretending to be Jay, or it paints another interesting picture that technically we haven't really had a chance to see much of in the television adaptations. In this case, drug-powered superheroes and their results. See, what people don't know is before Arrow, the CW was actually trying to work on the potential for an Our Man TV show. This was where Rex Tyler, a chemist, had developed a super drug called Miraclo that gave him heightened senses, strength, speed, durability, all these things for 1 hour at a time. With Arrow introducing Mirakuru, people thought that since the name translates into miracle, maybe this could be a way in for Miraclo. Who knows, Miraclo might still be developed from Mirakuru, but only have 1 hour at a time dosage to give someone like those abilities, but not that. But Rex Tyler was a drug addict. He was addicted to his pill. Now, also in the comics, Roy Harper, who we know as Arsenal, also he's called Speedy, before they brought Thea Queen into it. He was very famous on a comic in the 70s where he was on the cover and they found out that Roy was a drug addict. He was addicted to heroin. It was groundbreaking, it was moving. And yes, technically Mirakuru was a drug that was in his system. He's now cured of it, but he's been doing good ever since. It's not quite the same. And we're not getting Our Man, we're not getting Roy. So is it possible they're taking the idea and transplanting it onto Jay to pretty much have a say no to drugs kids story? It's possible. Now, I'll give you props. DC writers, you guys know what the heck you're doing. You have an engaging story. You know how to be faithful to the material, as well as know when to change things up a bit. So I've got props to you. But just because I'm seeing Jay Garrick as a drug addict who is recovering, but is not the same guy I remember in the comics, that's the iffy part. Because everything's telling me that's not my Jay. That's not the Jay I grew up with in the comics. That's not the one I grew up reading about. Is this guy Jay? He doesn't feel like it. And if I had my own thing, I wouldn't trust him because he's been consistently lying. It's just the truth. It's my opinion. But is he Zoom? Could he actually be that? Well, on the last part of Welcome to Earth 2, Barry was captured in a cell, which I'm surprised he's not getting out or vibrating through. In another cell is Jesse, Wells' daughter, and a mysterious guy in a jumpsuit seems to have an all-metal mask on. It's not just blocking his face, but he can't speak. He's trying to talk in Morse code on the wall. So far, no one's been able to really get the full thing of it there. However, to my friends that are checking this out, my friend, the Arrowverse, he tried to actually talk to some people on Reddit about this and using Morse code to try to do it, but it wasn't quite... I mean, it came out to Zoom is... It was just gibberish. It didn't seem to make any sense. What if... I know everyone's wondering who the heck Zoom, that guy in the metal mask could be. He's obviously connected and important to Zoom somehow. Could he be Zoom's doppelganger, and by revealing that helmet could it reveal who he is? Or, if Jay Garrick has in fact been captured, and this guy that's working with the Star Labs team, if it's not Zoom, what if it's the rival, and that guy in the mask is the real Jay Garrick? We don't know. But here's something important to think about. So far we've seen something in Earth 1 and Earth 2 that there are similarities, but there's also differences. The helmet that Jay has is actually a helmet that apparently a lot of soldiers had during the War of the Americas. If everything's flip-flopped, if day is night, night is day, to anybody that's knowledgeable in Morse code, what would happen if you substitute the dots for the dashes and vice versa? Could there be a message in there if it's literally reversed? If someone could get on that, I'd appreciate hearing about it, and I'd certainly like to see what you guys come up with that. But like I said, this doesn't feel like my Jay Garrick here. Are they trying something new? Yes. Am I compelled to watch? Yes. But personally, I don't trust this Jay. Now, Barry's got a big enough heart. If he's able to forgive Harry for this crap he's been pulling, then yeah, I could probably forgive Jay. Maybe he actually is a hero that wanted more and is just telling about the equivalent of steroid abuse and the damage it could do to the body. But it just doesn't feel like my Jay, you know? If they're combining Jay with Our Man and Speedy, yes, it's an interesting story. It's just, I have to watch it and let it play out more before I can give a final verdict on it. It just doesn't feel right to me, but I'll still watch it anyway. So, I could be wrong, but also in the latest Sizzler reel, we do get that Zoom is eventually going to unmask himself in front of Barry. We don't know who the heck he is yet. We don't know what episode yet. Some people are saying episode 18. Other people are saying it's going to be Escape from Earth 2. We don't know just yet. You just have to tune in and find out. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that Jay is definitely hiding something? Do you think if he's not Zoom himself, do you think he's connected to Zoom and working as a spy that way? So, tell me what you guys think, alright? Like, comment, subscribe, share, pass this bad boy around, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Until next time, Dave signing off. Peace. Yum yum.